everybody, and welcome back to Men's Day Out, India's only portal that covers gender stories, but from the other side. Joining with us is today Mr. Vikas Saraswat. He is columnist and author, but today he is here in his capacity as a citizen to speak about the very hot topic, marital rape debate. Welcome to the show, Mr. Saraswat, and thank you so much for taking out time to speak to us today.
My pleasure, totally.
So let me begin with, the term marital rape itself, can trigger a lot of emotions amongst both women and men. But what is your macro view on this debate with whatever that we are seeing in the court and on social media?
So we already have a lot of provisions under domestic violence actually. And when something like a a special law called marital rape is brought in, it is kind of pointing towards something actually. It is giving idea to the people. So like you can also go and file charges under this thing. If a lady under a marriage is facing some problem, she already has recourse to the domestic violence this thing. But here now this is actually pushing people towards something, giving them some sort of an idea that okay, this thing is also available to you. What I feel is that in place of the societal mores, social ethos, law is trying to, intervene in every sphere of our life, including the very intimate husband and wife relationships.
Right. So, but there will be one argument because even if you see the center, their primary argument in the court right now is mainly two things. One is that it will disturb the institution of marriage. And second, of course, which people don't want to look at it, is the gross misuse that can open up with this kind of yet another woman-centric law. How do you see this argument, when we say that, marriage as an institution, let it fail if it is, going to be a marriage where abuse is taking place?
We are already seeing the repercussions of all this women-centric laws. The 498A and the other one, domestic violence, they have already caused immense damage to the society. Not one person in our society would be there who wouldn't see at least one or two cases in his immediate relations or immediate friends. I mean, everyone, their near and dear one is suffering these kind of cases. Added to that, if this also comes, no, you imagine how difficult it would be. It will actually shatter the institution of marriage completely. Whatever semblance of marriage, family is there, that also will be shattered with this. All that a woman needs, this is not castigating all the women, but someone vicious, someone with an agenda, if they try to bring in this, then imagine the consequences. There is no recourse for a man. Presumption of guilt already in the earlier two laws is loaded against the man. Same is going to happen here also, and there is absolutely no way you can actually, find out the truth. A man can this sort of a thing. No, this relation is so intimate. This has got a sanctity of its own, and how does a man prove? It's like it's impossible, absolutely impossible. And with that, you are trying to bring in that kind of a law. Everywhere, we try to ape the West and not seeing where the Western societies themselves are going. They themselves are suffering a lot. It need not be that everything West is good only. West is having single parenthood problems. Even there are cases now where the children are left to fend unto themselves. India was known for its family, family bondings, the strength of the family as an institution. In fact, Mr. Arun Shourie, a very famous author, he had some problems with his child, and when he left America, he came to India only because doctors in the West suggested him, said, see, your child is in a position where he needs this family care actually. And in India you have that very strong institution, so it will be good that you go back to India, find a job there. So that is what it forced him to come to India. Imagine the aping of western western lifestyle, western laws, and where it is going to lead us to. So it's a, it's a very tragic thing actually. Hopefully
Absolutely.
some
And
sense
I
will
would like
prevail.
to say that, yes, when you say aping laws from the West, which is also what the petitioners are going on, telling the court that, oh, so many other countries have already criminalized marital rape as an offense. Why doesn't India do it? But what they don't tell us is that we can't compare our laws with those countries, because all those countries, whatever laws they have in place, are gender neutral. They have their own set of values that they follow compared to what we have in India. And as you rightly said, in India, it is not that a woman who is suffering from domestic or sexual violence in her marriage does not have recourse. That is absolutely something which people are not understanding right now, that currently if women are going through these kind of issues in the marriage, they have recourse under 498A Domestic Violence Act, even section 377, which is unnatural sex. And in fact, most of the divorce cases now, as you said, if there are women who are motivated or disgruntled, and if they want to see the husband behind bars, the easiest thing for them, to add is this 377 charge, which leaves no scope for the man to, defend himself. So there will be an arrest, and then he can go to court, and then he can keep fighting that case, defending himself for years. So this whole debate of aping laws from the West just does not fit in our scheme of things right now. Now, also, there is, since everybody was talking about women suffering in, a situation where they are being forced to have sex out of consent, we also have men on the other side who have shared their stories and their instances where they too have been forced into sexual activities by their wives. In fact, yesterday I put out one article, and I was myself shocked to read the kind of situations certain men are in. So one of the guys, he said that he did not want to have a child because he knew that there was a problem in the marriage, and he was foreseeing a divorce, in the near future. Now his wife, her mother, and her lawyer were constantly pressuring the woman to have a child, so that tomorrow if there is a divorce, she can go and claim more maintenance or more rights in the name of child. So he said, in this situation, I cannot step out of my house. I have been literally forced by my wife every night to, have these sexual relationships with her. So in this scenario, do you think if such a law comes, it should be gender neutral and not only favoring the women?
See, if it comes, it would be appropriate. I mean, not only this, no, every law should be gender neutral. But what I say is that actually this provision itself is not required. If you have come to a stage where your marriage is, if your value systems, if your lifestyles are incompatible, take a divorce and live happily. But marital rape, there is no, a man can virtually not defend himself, particularly when it is, this law is again drafted in the way the other two laws have been. So as you said, no, I have seen certain cases. There is a case where a man discovered a photo of his wife in a compromising position with another man, even in that condition, and the girl actually went on to put a case that this, my husband himself was forcing me into prostitution. And under those charges, this man remained there in jail for 8 months. Imagine. So if with this kind of law also coming in there is absolutely no recourse. And as you said, so laws should be gender neutral, there is no doubt about it. But this particular law, marital rape law, I think there is no place for it. It is just it's a out and out agenda. It's an out and out agenda. I think the court itself, Delhi High Court, yesterday or day before yesterday, has made some
Right.
observations about it. Yes, I think the court
Yes.
itself has
Justice
said that.
Harishankar has a
Uh,
question.
uh, yes, yes, yes. that I mean, it is virtually impossible for a man to defend himself in under these charges. So, and he has made a very interesting observation there, that unlike a man and women relation out of marriage, uh, a marriage actually, I mean, there is some sort of an understanding that there will be I mean, uh, sex demand for the intercourse would be there. That is a very important observation there what he has made. So it cannot be compared to any other relations outside the marriage, even in a live-in marriage relationship or something like that. So we have to be
Yes.
nuanced. If you
And
think no, the marriage is not working, yes. Yeah. So if you think no,
yes,
I mean, there is incompatibility in your relations, and if you think no, violence has been perpetrated upon you, go and take recourse under the domestic violence this thing, and live apart. But you and everyone knows, we all of us know how difficult it is again for the men and women to separate also. Those laws are also against completely in one-sided. Even if a woman is earning, the man still has to share. I mean, half of his earnings, half of his savings, half of his property. So everything is loaded against the men, and the condition is such that
absolutely.
very seriously a lot of youngsters are afraid to get married. They are really afraid to get married. They don't want to get married. It has come to such a position, bring in this kind of a law, and then you are breaking the society completely.
Absolutely. No, you're right. When you said one is obviously you're saying that if a couple is anyways not happy in the marriage and if there is violence like this, go in for a divorce. Now, even in that situation, a woman has ample laws in her favor that she can exit this kind of an abusive marriage. But when it comes to a man, even if he dares to file for divorce, say under cruelty, he is again charged with all possible cases, be it dowry harassment or sexual violence, mental cruelty, domestic violence. So virtually we have cornered the men in India, and they have no exit outside a cruel marriage today. So bringing in this law will, I don't know whether it's going to open floodgates of so many false cases. And as you said, a man, how he is going to defend himself, nobody knows. I mean, because unlike a rape which happens in unrelated parties, there will be some circumstantial evidence, there will be some phone records, some eyewitness seeing somebody going somewhere. But you're as a couple, when you're cohabiting in the same house, how are you going to prove your innocence?
True, very true. And what you said, Arnaz, about I mean, the earlier part, no, uh, men facing a lot of violence. That is why you see there is so much of suicide cases. I think the number of men committing suicide as against the women in marriages is disproportionately high. Add to that the problem that a man actually cannot be seen in society to be, I mean, complaining against his wife. That is one more problem. Legal recourse is not there. Society also views the men in certain way, like they expect a man to be in a different kind of a manner. He is not to be seen to be complaining not only against his wife but anybody else also, because he's supposed to be the protect. That's the kind of a psyche, no, societal psyche. So uh,
Absolutely.
it's a very difficult situation for the men. Kudos to organizations like you who are at least voicing the concerns, these concerns.
Mr. Saraswat, let me ask you, coming to the political side of this now. So let's say keep aside the debate whether this law should come, not come, that is a separate debate. But let us look at the timing. This particular PIL is being heard in Delhi High Court back to back just before the onset of the most crucial UP elections, 22. Now, last Sunday, if you would have observed, the former Congress president and perhaps even the future Congress president Rahul Gandhi, he had tweeted openly giving his views on this particular topic, and it was like an official statement coming out from the Congress that they supported marital rape law as an offense. But if they rewind a decade ago in 2012, in fact, Dr. Manmohan Singh and his cabinet, in UPA too, they were the ones who, in fact, rejected this recommendation which came out of Justice Verma committee. So do you look at this as, some kind of politics, being or weighing higher than justice for women as they would like to project it?
No, you are right actually, because there is actually in the last 6 7 years, no, women voters have been backing this present dispensation in a big manner, and these kind of issues, this kind of judicial activism could be one way to alienate them also from the present dispensation. There is, I mean, you can never discount that possibility, particularly when the same dispensation was not ready to have these kind of laws, as you mentioned, no, in their own time when they were in power. So what is forcing them to go ahead with all of this now?
Absolutely. And they had also given exactly the same reason. They said, we are warned against the misuse of this law, which will go the same way like the Anti Dowry Act. And now, in fact, I was reading some Congress angles. They were saying, oh no, we made a mistake that time. So that doesn't mean we should not, we should not support it now. So,
Yes,
it's okay to, tweet and, kind of create these emotions within people or within social
yes,
media users, but people don't understand the ground realities at family courts,
yes,
where you ask
yes,
any man today, any man who is even called to the police station, you ask him what are his rights, what versus what are the rights of a woman, and you will understand the ground realities.
absolutely. One more thing is there, Arnaz, no, every law is prone to misuse, but this particular law, I think it can only be misused. There will be, see, if you very coolly examine this, no, this will only be misused. There will be no proper use also, because a man women relation, if it is incompatible, would have already gone in the direction of divorce. So this can only be misused. There is no scope like some good use or some misuse or some percentage of good use and a bigger percentage. This can only and only be misused. We have to understand that.
Right. In fact, there was a joke, ironically, where it said now people will not be harassed for dowry. Now every divorce case would be a marital rape case if this law
Oh,
goes
sure.
through, and which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
sad.
yeah. Yes. Very true. Because everything else will be forgotten, and as we know how the wheels of justice operate, there is a proper cut and commission which is demanded by the advocates also for the settlement amounts. Those amounts also might go quite high.
So in fact, nobody will, go to jail, because what will happen is everything would be about a settlement. The minute this charge
Yes,
would be levied on the husband, right from, the investigating authorities to the lawyers to everybody who is involved as third party, it will be all about how much are you ready to settle with. So,
absolutely.
whether people are really talking about justice or maybe just adding to more corruption in the system is something what we all need to think about.
Very true. Very true. And we also
So
must
any
understand more. Yes. Huh. No, more number of laws anywhere. I mean, they will only benefit the investigating authorities and other. I mean, the malicious type of elements, rather than help the actual needy. If you, I mean, if you are really concerned about the women, suffering women, ensure that they get justice in the present, under the present laws themselves, and justice is meted out in a fair manner. But that's not the case actually. We are more worried about the optics. So this kind of an optics will, okay, I mean, it will assuage the feelings of some ultra militant feminists or that kind of a lobby, but it is not going to help the society in any way. And for anybody who, like, who
So
is
on this, if you
connected to
if
the
you want
society.
to,
Yeah, 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 please, please.
yeah, I'm saying, since you mentioned about this, where you said justice to real women or real victims, so you must read all the arguments that were given when triple talaq was about to be criminalized. And these are the
Ah,
same people who were arguing so strongly against, why we should criminalize something which is a matrimonial offense. We already have
yes,
so many provisions for women under the existing laws. Why are you not using that? So it is such
yes,
an irony, just 3 years, 4 years ago, you were having so many arguments against, not criminalizing triple talaq. But today you have,
yes,
completely turned the table, and, you're
yes.
saying women don't have laws at all. That is the argument today.
I have seen that clip, Karuna Nandi's video clip, and if that doesn't convince that this is all about agenda, then nothing else will. The lady has taken a
I think
virtual
that is
U-turn.
now,
Like,
yeah, all of them. In fact, of course, she is the petitioner in this case. But a lot of
yes,
feminists today who are advocating criminalizing of marital rape offense, these were the same ones who had completely different take during the criminalization of triple talaq. And in fact, one of our articles, details out how they were, absolutely they're saying, oh, you're not going to give justice to women if the husband goes to jail. Who will support her
yes.
sustenance? Who is going to take care of her? So,
Uh,
it just kind of exposes this hypocrisy.
Absolutely, absolutely, no doubt. I think you should play that clip also in this video somewhere, because that is very telling actually. So about the whole agenda.
Absolutely. Right. So, any last thoughts? Let's say, as a citizen, if you have to give your opinion or suggestion to the current Modi government on this issue, in a very balanced way, what will be your suggestion to them?
I would just say that stop aping the West in all the I mean manners and mannerisms. Uh, Let us see India in Indian context. We see the family in a very different manner, unlike the West. So uh, let us have laws which are rooted in India and Indian traditions. That's what I would like to tell it to your viewers and
Right.
anybody else taking note of this.
So, thank you very much.
I should be thanking you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. No,
Bye
not
bye.
at all. Thank you. And we'll keep having these debates. And let me thank you, because very few people from the right are also daring to speak about this issue right now. So I would personally like to thank you for coming up and being as vocal as you can on this topic.
In fact, you people deserve congratulations, like kudos for the kind of work, because this is a politically incorrect sort of a thing actually. No, nobody wants to be associated with it. So it takes a lot of courage actually to be coming out and championing this cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.